At this point, I've spoken to over 1,500 agents on a one-to-one level about eXp Realty. So I can safely say that I've fielded just about every question that real estate agents have about the brokerage. So the purpose of this video is to be the most comprehensive video that you've ever seen about eXp Realty. I'll be leaving no stone unturned so you have a very comprehensive view of what eXp Realty is and also what it is not. Because unfortunately, the way that eXp Realty is structured, sometimes real estate agents will only tell you what you want to hear because their number one objective is not to inform you, it's to get you to sign up. So let's really go for it on this one and begin with the history of eXp. eXp Realty was launched in 2009 by founder Glenn Sanford, whom had been involved with a number of internet startups in the 90s and early 2000s, and soon thereafter has set his sights on real estate, to where he was successfully able to leverage his online lead generation strategies and became one of the top 50 teams nationally with Keller Williams, before once again launching eXp Realty in 2009. And within a short year, eXp Realty was operating in 11 states. So this isn't one of those companies where you start small and build slow. This is one of those companies that had explosive growth from the jump. And also keep in mind what was happening in 2009. It was right on the heels of the global financial crisis, which, as you might recall, had a severe impact on real estate. So you have a brand new real estate brokerage starting in one of the toughest times to be in real estate. And on top of that, trying a radically different model that hadn't been successful in real estate, which was doing everything completely online and removing the brick and mortar and providing wealth building opportunities to all the real estate agents that form part of the brokerage. Now, what exactly is a cloud-based brokerage, or what some real estate agents will often refer to eXp Realty as a virtual brokerage? In short, it's a 24/7 access to collaborative tools, training, and social environment through 3D fully immersive cloud-based environment. So think of it like a normal office, except you don't have to go to the actual office itself to ask questions, for training, for support, for any of that. Everything that you need is accessible in eXp world, which is the online office per se. Now there's so many different benefits that this cloud-based model has opened up for eXp Realty and the competition that is actually mirroring exactly what eXp Realty is doing, a la Real and a la LPT, among others. This model has allowed for the entire brokerage to operate as one. There's no longer a need for franchises, which in turn means there's no franchise fees, and also means that there's no desk fees. So the agent that joins in Maine is going to have the same commission splits, the same fees, the same everything as the agent that joins in California. And the other huge competitive advantage to being a cloud-based brokerage is that there's no brick and mortar to pay for, which means that eXp Realty is saving a lot of money that it can reinvest back into the technology and also reinvest back into the agents. And the lack of brick and mortar locations also allows eXp Realty to grow exponentially fast. And at the time of this recording, eXp Realty is licensed in all 50 states in over 20 countries and has over 87,000 real estate agents. But let's look at something that many times doesn't get much play, which is the core values of the brokerage. What core values does a brokerage have that's going to drive the culture that it creates? Because without clearly defined core values and being able to implement those core values, you cannot create something this massive. So regardless of the real estate brokerage that you're a part of right now, it's important that you know these core values because you are the agent that's building this. Now again, this core values thing does get overlooked a significant amount of the time. So I just wanted to take a brief moment and address it because regardless of the brokerage that you're a part of, it matters. Now, of course, we already know that eXp Realty is a real estate brokerage, but what type of real estate does eXp Realty allow its agents to perform? Well, just about every type of real estate transaction has a home here. We're talking residential, farm and ranch, commercial, luxury. We're talking about everything with the exception of one. At the time of this recording, there is no property management at eXp Realty. If you were like me, where you had a property management book of business where I had 125 doors within my property management business, you're going to have to divest yourself from that. Unless your real estate commission allows you to have your property management book of business at one brokerage and have your sales in another. If that state allows you to do that, then eXp Realty might consider it. Now, all of that is case by case. Don't take that as law. It's something that you do need to visit with your broker team whenever you're considering joining eXp. So if you have a significant book of business when it comes to property management, there might be a way to get that to work out. And since we're already talking about the nuances of eXp Realty, I want to share something that comes up quite frequently, which is if you're a real estate agent that has licenses in multiple states, all licenses have to come in-house to eXp Realty. Meaning if eXp Realty is licensed in the places that you have your licenses, all of those licenses have to come home to eXp. So you can't have your New York license with one brokerage and have your Florida license with eXp Realty. Both of them have to come to eXp, which by the way works in your favor anyway, because you're only paying one fee for all of the states and you're also building towards one cap in all of the states, which is radically different than how most other brokerages operate because they are franchises and every franchise operates differently. So every franchise is going to have its own fee and its own cap. And even though you might still be with the same brokerage in another state, you still are operating under a different franchise. So it has its own fees and its own cap as well. But before I forget, where are my manners? Allow me to welcome you to my YouTube channel. My name is Jaime Resendiz, and I help real estate professionals exponentially grow their business through actionable content. And I'm on a mission to help reduce the over 80% failure rate for real estate agents. So if you can hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, that's going to really help us out. All right, so now let's get to that juicy part. Let's start talking about that money. eXp Realty operates under a commission split model, where a percentage of the commission that's earned by the real estate agent gets divided up between the real estate brokerage and the real estate agent themselves. And the split at eXp Realty is 80-20, 80% for the real estate agent and 20% for the brokerage. Now that split will continue as the real estate transactions continue happening, up until the point the real estate brokerage receives $16,000. It's at that point where the real estate agent caps, which means that the real estate commission split is no longer 80-20. It's 100% for the real estate agent and 0% commission split to the real estate brokerage. So putting this into simple numbers, if you're a real estate agent that charges your real estate clients an average of 3% commission, you need to sell $2.66 million in sales volume in order to receive $80,000 in gross commission income, which means that from that $80,000 that you earned in gross commission income, $16,000 of that will go to the brokerage, will go to eXp Realty. And the remainder $64,000 goes to you, barring some fees, which we're about to get into. But for all intents and purposes, that's how the commission split model works. But let's continue. Let's say you continue selling real estate after capping, which again is very rewarding because you're receiving 100% of the commission now. Since you're no longer under a commission split model, you're going to go into a transaction-based model, which means that on your next transaction, instead of it being an 80-20 split, you're paying $250 per transaction. So if you're in a commission of $10,000, well, the fee that you're paying is $250. If you're in a commission of $50,000, you're still only paying $250. And that structure will continue happening for the next 20 transactions because this $250 fee also has a cap, and that cap is $5,000. So after that 20th transaction, now your transaction fee is only $75. So it drops. So just to recap, milestone 1 is when you cap. And your second milestone is after the 20th transaction after capping. Now, those two milestones have some significant implications when we're talking about another revenue stream that eXp Realty gives you, which we'll talk about here shortly under the equity section. But first, let's address all of the fees in the room. The startup fee at eXp Realty is $149, at least in the United States. If you're in another country, again, we're in over 20 countries at this point, that startup fee will be different. And your monthly fee at eXp Realty is $85. So that means regardless if you have 0 transactions that month or 100 transactions that month, you're still going to be paying that $85 minimum. That monthly fee is not transaction dependent. The following 2 fees are transaction dependent though. For every transaction, you're paying a $25 transaction review fee, which does not go away even if you cap. And the second transaction-based fee is the risk management. You're paying $40 per transaction there. Now, risk management, commonly referred as E&O insurance, errors and omissions insurance, that does have a cap of $500. So if you do the math on that, you're looking at 13 transactions before you cap your risk management fee. Now, for all intents and purposes, this is what most real estate agents will receive when it comes to commission and when it comes to fees. Now, one nuance that we need to make sure to address, because I don't want you to be surprised, is that this is the compensation package that you can expect if you have closed at least 3 transactions in the last 12 months before joining eXp Realty. So in other words, if you're a brand new agent, or if you're coming to eXp without having done too many transactions beforehand, at least 3, then you are going under a different comp plan. And the only difference comes in the commission split. You are not going to receive an 80-20 split as a new agent. You're going to receive 60-40. 60% for you, the agent, and then 40% going over to the eXp Realty brokerage, which is broken down in several ways. 10% of that will be given to your mentor, the mentor that's responsible to help you in your real estate career for the first 3 transactions. Another 10% is going to go to eXp University, which is additional training that's specifically designed for you as a newer agent to get into production a lot quicker, and thus reduce the failure rate, which is over 80%, as you might already know. And that other 20% is that standard split that you would receive even if you had come into eXp as an experienced agent. Now, while that 60-40 split may sound a little bit high, it's important to note that in many other brokerages, that 60-40 split actually never goes away. There's many real estate brokerages out there that will put you under that 60-40 split or worse until you make a significant amount of sales. At eXp, that's not the case. The moment you make 3 transactions, well, that's the moment that you graduate to that 80-20 split. Now, there are some additional perks to being a real estate agent here at eXp Realty that a lot of agents already in the brokerage have no idea even exist. As an eXp Realty agent, you get 3 personal transactions that you don't have to pay a commission split on. So what does that mean? If I go on to purchase a house for myself, a house that's going to be under my name, I can purchase that house without paying an 80-20 split. It doesn't matter if I've capped or not. I don't have to pay that split because it's a personal transaction. And I get 3 of those transactions every single year. For each of those personal deals, I'm not paying that split. I'm only paying a transaction fee. That transaction fee of $250. So that's why eXp Realty has been such a phenomenal home for investors. Now, something else that's pretty cool is that you're able to run your real estate business the way that you want to. We have something called minimum company dollar. As an agent, you have flexibility on what you can charge your clients. In most brokerages, you're not allowed to make that call. So if you wanted to be flexible on your commission and help your family or friends or just offer a repeat client discount, then your hands would be tied. But at eXp, there's such flexibility that the only thing that you have to consider is what's called minimum company dollar, where there's a minimum that you can charge your real estate client. And this applies mostly on the listing side. The minimum that you can charge your seller is $500. Now, these are all splits and fees that have to do with individual agents. Later on in the video, we're going to talk about the team structure, all the different structures that you have here at eXp Realty, along with the commission splits that you can most likely expect. But before we get to that, let's look at another revenue stream in the form of eXp Realty stock. eXp Realty agents can become shareholders at eXp Realty, which trades under the NASDAQ ticker symbol EXPI. Now, before we get into the 5 ways that you can earn EXPI stock, let's look at what EXPI even owns, because it's not just the owner of eXp Realty, the brokerage. eXp World Holdings is a holding company for eXp Realty, Verbella, and Success Enterprises. And just in the 3rd quarter of 2022 had a record revenue of $1.2 billion. Which was an increase of 12% year over year and with an agent growth of 30%. Now, I highlight that important fact because a lot of agents think that the ownership is solely in the real estate brokerage. And what's not factored in is the ownership in mega brands like Success. But let's continue. One of the primary ways that you're going to earn stock is through the Sustainable Equity Plan, where every year you earn shares on your first transaction, which amounts to $200 worth. You also earn shares when you go on to cap. As a reminder, the cap at eXp is $16,000, which is that first milestone that we alluded to earlier in the video. And here, what that means for you is $400 worth of EXPI stock. Now, this also happens yearly. And the 3rd way you earn shares is when an agent you sponsor closes their first transaction. Here, it's another $400 in EXPI stock, except this doesn't happen yearly. This is just when an agent that you sponsor into the company closes their first transaction. So it's a one-time. Now, keep in mind that these stock awards are, of course, earned. However, also keep in mind that this was something you were going to do anyway, which is selling real estate. So this is essentially real estate that you were going to sell anyway. So why not do that under a real estate brokerage that's going to give you equity into the brokerage, rather than sell real estate and continue building the company for somebody else? Because for all intents and purposes, you're not going to have an ownership stake in any other brokerage out there. Because in my opinion, even if you buy a franchise, you're not that much of an owner, given that you still have to pay a franchise fee every single time. But let's look at the fourth way to earn stock, which is the Icon Agent Award. Because by my estimation, this was actually the catalyst that propelled eXp Realty to another level. When you become an Icon Agent, you can receive up to $16,000 in stock upon the achievement of certain production and cultural goals within your anniversary year. So let me just reiterate what that says. When you sell real estate at a high volume here at eXp Realty, you have the ability of earning that $16,000 that you already paid into the brokerage for you to cap. You have the ability to earn that back in the form of equity. So how does that work? How do you become an Icon Agent? Well, there's two primary ways, and that's either by capping and paying an additional $5,000 in transaction fees into the company. Now, remember that second milestone that we spoke about when we were talking about the commission, where you're paying $250 for the next 20 transactions until you cap at $5,000? Well, I mentioned back then that it had some serious implications for you, and this is one of them. You become an Icon Agent when you achieve this level of production, which will then give you access to that $16,000 that you paid into the brokerage in the form of EXPI stock. But let's continue, because at this point you might be a commercial real estate agent or a luxury agent, because you might be thinking, well, I do a significant amount of sales volume, but I don't do that many transactions, so that really doesn't help me all that much. And you're absolutely right. So that's why the second way to earn the Icon Agent program exists. You can also become an Icon Agent by closing at least 10 transactions with an annual gross income of $500,000 and above, and have paid the Icon Qualifying Agent fee equal to $5,000. So that reduces the amount of transactions significantly, to where commercial agents and luxury agents also have that ability of becoming an Icon Agent, thus accessing that $16,000. But let's go further, because there's some fine print we need to be aware of. But I have to say access to or eligible for, because it's not an automatic given. Of that $16,000 that's there for the taking that you're eligible for, half of that you've already earned through your production. So that $8,000 is coming back to you as soon as you become an Icon Agent. But the remaining $8,000, there are some additional requirements that you would be responsible for. For $4,000 of that, you would need to meet the cultural goals, which would mean that you would either need to become a mentor, an Icon instructor, a panelist, or moderator at Icon events, or becoming an Icon vetting member, which you must complete at least one of those services within the year of earning your award. And the way that you earn the remaining $4,000 is by attending eXp events. With attendance at each of the events, you're earning $2,000. So you would need to attend eXpCon and or eXp Shareholder Summit in the year after receiving the Icon Award. Now, also be aware that there are different vesting requirements for the way that you earn this EXPI stock. And since we're talking about vesting, know that each one of the sustainable equity plan ways that you earn stock also comes with a 3-year vesting period. But let's move on to the Agent Equity Program, where you can enroll to be paid 5% of every transaction commission with stock at a 10% discount. So as you continue making transactions, you can choose to have 5% of your commission be converted into EXPI stock at a 10% discount. And given that that's stock that you purchase with your money, there's no vesting period. Now, I know it's a lot of information to take in for the first time. However, just think of it this way. 4 out of the 5 ways that you earn stock at eXp Realty all have to do with selling real estate. There's only one way that has to do with you actually sponsoring another agent, or commonly referred to as recruiting another agent. And even then, there's still a requirement for that agent that you bring on to actually close their first transaction. So again, this is all found revenue for you. This is something that you continue to benefit from as you're doing what you're doing already, which is selling real estate. Now, the third revenue stream that we'll cover today is revenue share, which is both a blessing and a curse. A blessing in the sense that it can provide you a huge revenue stream if you choose to focus on it. A curse in the sense that this is how eXp Realty gets a bad name. Because you've probably already heard this, that eXp Realty is a pyramid scheme, that eXp Realty is a scam. This is something you probably hear all the time. But just so you're aware, A majority of eXp Realty agents never recruit a soul. It's very top heavy to where a good amount of the agents that get sponsored at scale are done by a select number of influencers. And you might be looking at one. But with that being said, let's break this down. Where does revenue share even come from? At eXp, an eXp agent can sponsor a new agent to join the brokerage. Now, once that new agent that was sponsored begins closing on transactions, the sponsor, aka the person that recruited that agent, receives a percentage of the company revenue from the sales activity of their sponsored agent until that annual commission cap of $16,000 is reached. So to answer the question of where revenue share even comes from, it's important to note that eXp pays this share, not the agent. It's actually taken from the 20% adjusted gross commission income received by eXp and is paid to the sponsoring agent monthly. Well, at eXp, the split, as we talked about earlier, is 80-20. 80% for you, 20% for the brokerage. Well, it's from that 20% that goes to the brokerage where the revenue share comes from. So it's not from the 80% that goes to the agent. So compare just that, what I just said, to other real estate brokerages. What typically happens when a friend, a family member, a previous coworker says, hey, I want to join your brokerage. What do I need to do? Well, under another real estate brokerage, you probably say, hey, join mine because I'm happy here. I'm getting a good split. I think you'll like it here. Well, they join your brokerage thanks to your referral. And that broker is super excited because now they have another agent that's going to bring some business to the brokerage, aka that broker just became more wealthy. And that's it. I mean, you didn't think that you were going to get compensated, did you? All right, so yes, I'm having a little bit of fun. You might get a Starbucks gift card.
You played yourself.
Folks, that's how it happens with other real estate brokerages. That's how it's happened for the longest time. But at eXp, as you see, the revenue share can be a significant increase to your passive income stream. And because not only are you going to receive revenue share from the agents that you sponsor directly, but you're also going to receive revenue share on the agents that they go on to sponsor and they go on to sponsor and on, 7 levels. Now, before I get into some actual numbers, just know that these figures are not a guarantee, representation, or projection of earnings or profits you can expect or should expect. They also do not include expenses incurred by agents in operating their businesses. eXp Realty makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with eXp Realty results only from successful sales efforts, which required hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Your success will depend on how well you exercise these qualities. Now, I say that partly because I have to, but also I do want to make it clear that you building a substantial revenue share opportunity here at eXp is absolutely possible, but it requires work. There's no way around it. It does require you working actively and diligently to make this happen. That's why so many agents have decided to partner with our group here at the Agent First Group to help tap into this passive income stream, because I share all of the strategies and all of the resources that I personally use for agent attraction, which has allowed me to speak with 1,500 agents on a one-to-one level about eXp Realty without ever having to do a cold call. But let's dig into the numbers so we really understand what we're talking about. Let's just say you sponsor one single agent. You're going to receive 3.5% of the gross commission. So as an example, if it's a $10,000 commission, you're receiving 3.5% of that, which is $350. Now, again, as a reminder, that revenue share gets paid monthly. So whenever a transaction happens on February, as an example, where you're paying on that transaction in March. Now, continuing on this example with this single agent, for each person that you personally bring on to eXp, you can earn up to $2,800 depending on the sales production of that person. And this continues to be paid to you as long as you remain an active agent and the agent you brought into the business stays with eXp and generates sales. Now, as a reminder, revenue share is paid from the percentage that eXp receives and doesn't reduce that agent's commission. Now, for additional transparency, here's the maximum potential avenue revenue share per agent. You see that on tier 1, which is the example that we were going through, you can earn up to $2,800. On tier 2, it's $3,200. Tier 3, it's up to $2,000. Tier 4, it's up to $1,200. Tier 5 is up to $800. Tier 6, it's up to $2,000. And tier 7, it's up to $4,000. Now you're probably wondering what's going on with that column that says FLQA. And I wondered the same thing the first time that I saw it, the second time that I saw it, the fifth time, and on and on. So we're going to go through that very methodically because that really factors in between you taking full advantage of this revenue share program versus you still make it a pretty good chunk of change, potentially. Again, not making any financial claims. So I just want to make sure that you're aware on the implications of what FLAs versus FLQAs are, which stands for frontline agents versus frontline qualifying agents. Because at eXp, as mentioned before, we sell real estate. Because if your plan is to bring in agents that really aren't doing any production, well, there's no revenue share to go around. You don't get credit for your body count. How you maximize the potential revenue share per agent is directly reflected on the personal qualifying agent count. And to better understand this, let's look at this chart. This left-hand column reflects what's called expansion share percentage. And this column has the exponential share percentage. Now this percentage is multiplied by the adjusted gross commission income. And the right-hand column has the FLQA count, which FLQA stands for frontline qualifying agent. Now, what criteria must one have in order to qualify to be an FLQA? An agent becomes an FLQA when they complete 2 full transactions or earn $5,000 in gross commission income in a 6-month period. So this goes back to agents actually selling real estate. But let's continue. Now that we know definitions, let's apply this in practice. As agents continue to sponsor other agents and your downline continues to grow, you will be receiving the expansion share percentage. So as an example, if an agent on your tier 7 has a commission of $10,000, that's $50 for you. But as you probably already noticed, this exponential share column is significantly larger. In some cases, 24 times larger. So the goal with your revenue share is to also access this column. And the only way you access this exponential share percentage column is directly contingent to that FLQA count that you have. So let's just go with an example. Let's just say you sponsor one agent. That one agent on your tier 1 or your front line automatically qualifies you for 3.5% commission on the exponential share percentage. Why? Well, regardless if your agent is an FLQA or not, that first tier is what it pays. However, if that one agent goes on to attract another agent, aka sponsor another agent, aka recruit another agent, then that other agent is on tier 2. So you're gonna receive 3.5% for that frontline agent that you have, but now you automatically earn 0.2% on the production of that agent on your tier 2. And that is the percentage that you're going to receive because you're not eligible for that exponential share percentage because you do not have at least 5 frontline qualifying agents on your front line. So what does this mean? That in order for you to continue unlocking that additional exponential share percentage, you have to continue sponsoring agents that are actually productive because it won't do you any good to have 40 agents that you personally sponsor and they sell no real estate. Because if you look at that column, that count is based off of FLQAs, frontline qualifying agents, which we already established need to complete 2 transactions or earn $5,000 in gross commission income in a 6-month period. So in order for you on your tier 2 to earn that expansion share percentage and that exponential share percentage, you need to have a frontline qualifying agent count of at least 5. So that means that you will have personally needed to sponsor at least 5 agents personally. Now take this exact structure and apply it all the way down. Now I know it can be confusing and you're gonna need to watch this over and over again, similar to what I had to do and really had various people explain it to me. But I think hopefully I did a fair representation of what the revenue share program as it's laid out can do for you. Now, as your revenue share organization continues to grow into 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, however many agents end up becoming part of your revenue share organization, the FLQAs, the frontline qualifying agents, aka the agents that you personally sponsor, becomes so important because that can be the difference between a $10,000 check per month versus $100,000. Now, that's not meant to be a financial claim. That's just something that I personally witnessed with some of my agent friends that have been with eXp a lot longer than I have, that have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 agents in their rev share organization. And while their revenue share is still significant, they're missing out on a lot of other revenue share because they were not able to personally sponsor or have not been able to personally sponsor enough FLQAs to open up the rest of the tiers. Now, if you're interested in a calculator that goes over all of this from a commission standpoint, stock standpoint, and the revenue share standpoint, so you can take your production and compare it to what it would look like at eXp, just send me an email at admin@JaimeResendiz.com so I can send it to you. But let's continue, because one of the biggest things that I hear all of the time whenever I'm speaking with real estate agents that are considering making the move is that they need better training. So what does training look like at eXp? Well, every single week at eXp Realty, you can expect at least 80 hours of live training. You heard it right, 80 hours of live training every single week. Now, this training is unlike any other training because here you actually have qualified real estate professionals training whatever it is that they have mastered. So you're getting training from the top 1% of agents that are actually successful, agents that have actually mastered a skill set or a craft that they're sharing with you. This is radically different than what you can expect at a traditional real estate brokerage, because there you might have a top producer that will volunteer to do a training possibly once a week. However, you're limited to the skill set and scope because there you're not pulling from 87,000 agents. Even if you're in a large big box brokerage, you're still limited to that franchise, so it's geography bound. So it's a huge differentiator when it comes to training here at eXp. Now, what about support? That is another big item that I hear about every single time I speak with agents. There's a broken system where agents just do not get the support that they need, especially starting out. Well, at eXp, there's several layers of support. At eXp, if you're a brand new agent, you will be assigned a mentor. So you absolutely want to reach out to that mentor for anything and everything. Now, in the event that you don't have a mentor, you can log into eXp World and go to your broker room and speak with your staff there. You can speak to the broker team, the transaction team, the compliance team, and everybody that's staffing that particular state that you work in. Now, in the event that it's after hours, you're gonna log into eXp Workplace and search out the staff that you need support from. So as an example, if you need to get a hold of your broker, even though you've never spoken to them in your life, you're gonna be able to find their information in eXp Workplace and DM them or call them or text them or email them. And now if that fails and you still aren't able to get a hold of somebody, you're going to stay on Workplace and leverage your eXp Realty agent community. There's a ton of agents available to you 24/7 that at one point or another will be able to help you with whatever issue you have. Now, this is where we have to talk about sponsorship and why it matters so much. When you join eXp Realty, you have the option of naming a sponsor. And once you select that sponsor is with you for life. At least for life here at eXp Realty. So it's very important that you know that, because who you choose as a sponsor absolutely matters. Now, with that being said, the sponsor that you select most likely is tapped into a larger group or a larger faction here at eXp Realty. As an example, my group is called the Agent First Group, and we sponsor agents everywhere, and we're one of the fastest growing groups at eXp for what we do for our agents. And one of the things that we've done is we've hired several staff members that I personally am responsible for, that I personally pay for, to support our real estate agents. So that's another lifeline for all of the agents that we sponsor here at the Agent First Group. So again, if you need support, make sure that you reach out to your sponsor or the group that they're a part of, because they have a vested interest. You saw the revenue share chart. They have a vested interest in you succeeding. All right, so now let's talk about technology, because that's really a big claim to fame for eXp Realty, how powerful its technology deck is. At eXp, you have eXp Enterprise, which will give you greater autonomy and greater visibility into your metrics. You'll know exactly where you stand business-wise. For transaction management, you'll have SkySlope, which allows you to go completely paperless. And this will be how you're going to submit your documents for review and also how you'll get paid. You'll also have access to eXp Workplace. which works a lot like Facebook, but you can see this as a company-wide directory, which allows you to collaborate with anybody and everybody within eXp Realty. Now, you'll also have access to KV Core as your CRM, which will serve as your website, your landing page generator, squeeze page generator, email autoresponder, text autoresponder, and much more. So when it comes to the tech deck that you receive at eXp Realty, there's really no comparison, especially for $85 a month. That's your monthly fee and it covers everything, which at this point it's appropriate for me to bring up one of the biggest reservations that agents that are considering eXp Realty end up having. And that is a reservation of going fully online, going fully digital, going fully virtual. Because there's still this such yearning for a physical space. There's still this desire to go to a physical office. I get it. So when you join eXp Realty, you'll still have an option of meeting in a physical space, or at least having access to a physical space if you need to get out of the house. And that comes in the form of Regus workspaces, where you'll have access to all Regus locations at no cost to you. That's right, if you want to meet somebody, instead of going to Starbucks, you can go to a professional setting that Regus offers. Now, it's important to note that the access that you get is to the common spaces. These are the co-working spaces. You won't be getting a private office, just to be clear. But many times you don't need that anyway. The common spaces at some of these Regus locations are absolutely beautiful or absolutely private enough to where you don't have to get a physical office. So I encourage you to just Google Regus office near me and go and visit one sometime, just to see if you find yourself being able to go to that particular office in the event that you move over to eXp Realty. Now, Regus is one of the major partners that you can expect here at eXp Realty and one of those additional perks. However, it doesn't end there. There are a multitude of vendors, a multitude of partners that you have access to for being an eXp agent. Any one of these partners is either going to save your clients money, or is going to save you money, or in some cases make you money. So one of the first things that you'll want to do when you join eXp Realty is explore all of these partners in eXp world, because each one of them is going to have a dedicated space within the world. So you'll get to chat to one of the representatives and see how they can either benefit your client or benefit you. Now, another thing that you need to be aware of at eXp is that you have access to affordable healthcare. You as a real estate agent now have access to a healthcare plan, and a plan that you can actually afford. Now, full disclosure, I myself am a little bit biased because I'm actually on this healthcare plan. And I'm on it mostly because I have some terrible knees and terrible ankles. So I have to be mindful that surgeries are going to come and go, which will mean therapy afterwards. It's happened before and it's probably going to happen again. So the best thing I can tell you is to schedule a call with them so they can quote you. If they provide better coverage and for less, then it's a no-brainer. But if they can't do either, then you just don't use them as your healthcare provider. The important thing here is that you at least have an option now. Now, let's shift our gears a bit and address the team conversation, because you might be in a place where you're considering bringing your entire brokerage into eXp, or you already have a team in the brokerage that you're in and are looking to bring that into eXp as well. Or heck, you might be in a place in your career where you actually want to start your own team altogether. First, let's start off with defining what a team is here at eXp. There's going to be one lead agent or a team leader, and there's one or more licensed agent working as a team member with the team agreement. So in other words, you need to have a minimum of 2 people in your team, and this can include yourself. And although in some cases eXp will not review your team agreement, it's still something that you need to have to be able to operate a successful real estate team here at eXp. But note that regardless of the situation, eXp Realty will not intervene in any disputes between team members and team leaders. So in other words, eXp won't be your referee. Now overall, there's 4 types of teams at eXp Realty. You have the domestic team, the self-organized team, the standard team, and the mega icon team. Now who can start these types of teams? From a domestic team, it's anybody who has a spouse or relationship or files joint tax returns. In a self-organized team, it's any agent at eXp Realty. For a standard team, is anyone who can document a minimum of $6 million in sales volume or 30 closed transactions in the prior 12 months. And for the mega icon team, it's anyone who can document a minimum of $40 million in sales volume and 175 closed transactions in the prior 12 months. Now, is there a minimum number of team members? For the domestic team, the self-organized team, and the standard team, the minimum is 2 members. But for your mega icon team, the minimum is 11. The team leader and at least 10 team members who would have capped had they been at eXp Realty in the prior 12 months. Now, is there a maximum number of team members? For your domestic team, which is essentially a marriage, it makes sense that the maximum number of team members is 2. But for your other teams, the self-organized, the standard team, and the mega icon team, there's no maximum. Now, can you be part of a secondary group or a team? Under a domestic team, yes, if the primary is a team lead for one of the other team structures. So you can be in both the domestic team and another type of team structure. Under the self-organized team, possibly. If there is no formal team created where it is more of an agreement to help each other out, you can have multiple loose arrangements. Under the standard team, however, you cannot participate on a standard team and another team with the exception of the team lead being a domestic team primary partner. And the same thing applies to your mega icon team. Now this one is very important. Is there a minimum amount the team lead must charge on transactions? For the domestic team, no, there's no minimum amount. For a self-organized team, also there is no minimum amount. But for both your standard team and your mega icon team, you are required to charge at least 25% for any team member choosing the reduced cap option, which the cap situation is something we're going to talk about here shortly. Now, what kind of documentation is needed for the team to be approved and set up? Well, if you're trying to form a domestic team, you will need a marriage certificate or a tax return showing joint filing on file with eXp Realty for the team to be approved and set up. For the self-organized team, you do not need to have a formal team agreement, but for both your standard team and your mega icon team, you will need a written team agreement between the team lead and the team members on file with eXp Realty for the team to be approved and set up along with the production. Now, are there special considerations for the team members? Here's where we start talking about capping. Under the domestic team, you're both working towards one cap. So given that you're working towards one cap, you're looking at $16,000. And under a self-organized team, there's no special considerations for team members or self-organized teams. So in other words, there's no reduced cap under the self-organized team structure. But under the standard team, there is an $8,000 capping option for team members. Now keep in mind, this is optional. Not all of your team members have to go under this reduced cap. And you're going to see the pros and cons of this very shortly. Now under the mega icon team, there's a $4,000 capping option for team members. This is commonly referred to as a quarter cap. Now, can team members become an icon agent? Now remember all of the benefits that come along with becoming an icon agent. So if you need a refresher, you might want to go back to the icon section because that's quite important, especially as you're setting up a team. Under a domestic team, you are eligible for an icon award, except you're eligible for just one icon award, given that you're working towards one cap and you're operating as one. Now on the self-organized team, since everyone's on that $16,000 cap, everyone is eligible for that icon award, assuming they do everything necessary to achieve that icon status. Now on the standard team, anyone choosing the $16,000 cap is eligible for that icon award. But those that chose that half cap of $8,000 are not eligible. And the exact same thing happens in the mega icon team. If an agent chooses to go down the $16,000 cap option as opposed to the quarter cap option, those agents are eligible for that icon award. The agents that opt in for that reduced cap or that quarter cap are not. Now, once the team is set up, can team members in other states be added to the team? Now, under the domestic team, if you add a state of licensure, the primary agent must have that same licensure, or unfortunately, they cannot process the commission without a referral. Now, let's pause for a quick second and address what's this primary language all about. Well, in a domestic team, you get to select which agent is going to be primary and which agent's going to be secondary. The primary agent is one that's going to pay the full monthly fee of $85 a month, and the secondary agent is one that's going to get a reduced fee of $50 a month. And it really doesn't matter which agent you decide to be the primary or the secondary agent. At the end of the day, both of you still need to be licensed. So what this is saying is that if the secondary agent is licensed in another state, well, the primary agent also needs to be licensed in that state. So if I were you and I was thinking about becoming the primary agent, but I know that my bride is thinking about getting her real estate license in other states, well, I would swap that. I would make her the primary agent. But anyway, let's continue. These are just some of those nuances. But again, to recap, once the team is set up, can team members in another state be added to the team? Well, under the self-organized team, the standard team, and mega icon team, absolutely yes. Now, this next question is also a very important one, especially since we're talking about teams. So make sure that you're paying close attention or ask any questions that you have down in the comment section. What happens if a team leader can't join when the rest of the team is ready? In a domestic team, the one partner will join as a single agent. Now, once the second partner joins, the new team can keep either anniversary date. However, there will be no payment refunds once the two are combined. All right, so another quick explanation on the domestic team. Once your partner joins eXp Realty, they're going to join as a single agent. And once you join your partner at eXp, you can then decide which agent's going to be the primary or secondary agent. And you can also decide when your anniversary date is going to be. You can make it the date that the first partner joined eXp Realty, or you can make it the date of when you joined. Either or. Now, under the self-organized team, if there is a formal team with a written team agreement, there has to be an interim team lead identified. The interim team lead will have all responsibilities of the team lead until such time as the lead on the LOI, letter of intent, joins eXp Realty, replacing the interim team leader. Another term that we need to introduce, letter of intent. When you're joining as a team, because you're either bringing your brokerage or your team, there's going to be a letter of intent, because most of the time there's responsibilities that you as a broker or a team lead need to fulfill where you're presently at. So you need to close all the loose ends up there. However, your team can actually come into the brokerage already. And what this letter of intent does for you is that you won't lose your spot in line. In other words, you would still be the person sponsoring the rest of the agents. Simply because your agents joined eXp Realty first does not mean that you are then signing in underneath them. That's what the letter of intent helps you clarify. It facilitates that transition and lets eXp know that you're on the way. And the same can be said for the standard and mega icon teams, where there has to be an interim team lead identified, and that interim team lead will have all responsibilities of the team lead until such time as the lead on the LOI, letter of intent, joins eXp Realty, replacing that interim team lead. And that interim team lead will be a full capping agent while interim, and no refunds or post-close commission adjustments will be made when they are replaced by the team lead on the LOI. Now, I understand that this is a large part of our video, the team section. However, we're talking about multiple agents at this point, so we really do want to be detailed, especially if you're thinking about closing your brokerage and bringing it into eXp Realty, which we at the Agent First Group have extensive knowledge on. Just last month, we brought on 4 brokerages to partner with us. So make sure that you reach out if you want to get onboarded to eXp Realty the right way. But let's address a very important question that comes up by all team leads and all team members. So whenever I do these Zoom calls with all the team members to really explain all of the details about eXp, this is really the question that comes up 100% of the time. And that is, how are commissions calculated? The first deductions are for any outside referrals owed to other brokers. Next, the gross commissions or remaining commissions after outside referrals are divided between the team leader and the team member. And then that's when all eXp Realty company dollar and fees are deducted from each agent individually. Now, it's important to note that transaction-based fees such as a broker review, cap transaction fee, and risk management are all per transaction, not per agent. So let's go through an example. Let's just say there's a 50-50 split between team leader and team member, and that the team leader is capped and that the team member is not capped. So essentially, you're still talking about that commission split. And the transaction in question has a $10,000 gross commission. Now, since it's a 50-50 split, $5,000 goes to the team leader and $5,000 goes to the team member. And given that we're talking about one singular transaction, we're taking 50% of that capped transaction fee because the team leader is capped. That transaction fee is $250, except they're not responsible for that full amount. They're only responsible for 50% of it. However, on the team member side, they are not capped, so they are not under that transaction fee of $250. They're still on that split. So that team member is less that 20% split. Now, on the team leader side, you're talking about less 50% of the broker review fee of $25. So a team leader is responsible for $12.50, which is the same for the team member. And the exact same structure applies on the risk management fee of $40. Both the team leader and the team member are responsible for 50% of that $40. So you can see that the net commission to a team leader is higher because that team leader had already capped, but the team member had not capped yet. Now, I know this can be a little bit confusing because even till this day, I have to double check my work. So if you want access to the calculator that we use internally to run all these numbers, then just send me an email to admin@JaimeResendiz.com. Now, here's the thing. All of this may sound incredible to you. You might be learning about eXp Realty for the first time, or this might be the 100th time that you've heard about eXp Realty. You're just trying to give it another shot, see if there's something that you might have missed that would be compelling for you to partner. So I'd like to share some stats with you because, as mentioned earlier, one of the biggest knocks that eXp Realty gets is that the real estate agents within the brokerage, all they do is recruit. So it leads other agents to believe that there's no real estate being sold. But if that was the case, eXp, with only 13 years of existence, wouldn't rank as the third largest brokerage in the country. Now, eXp is not only one of the fastest growing brokerages by transactions, it's also one of the fastest growing by agent count. And although we have 87,000 agents at the time of this recording, it's very soon that we're going to celebrate the 100,000th agent. But enough about the brokerage. Let's talk about the type of agent that probably wouldn't be a good fit at eXp. Because as I've mentioned, I've had an extensive amount of calls with real estate agents that have considered eXp Realty, but for one reason or another decided not to join, or decided to join but ended up leaving immediately thereafter. So there's a few similarities between those agents that decide to go back to the brokerage that they were a part of or continue brokerage shopping. eXp Realty might not be a fit for you if you absolutely need other people around you at all times. If you're thinking about joining eXp and are not going down a team model where there might be a physical brick and mortar location that is paid for and operated by that team, you might really need to double check that, because you might be that person that absolutely thrives, that absolutely finds joy, that absolutely must be around other real estate agents. Now, there's other ways to build a community here at eXp Realty, and one of those ways is by joining a group such as the Agent First group that already has that built in. But even that can only go so far. If you absolutely need to be in that office setting with other agents, and that is something that you absolutely can't do without, then eXp Realty might be a little bit tough. Now, another type of agent that might find it a little bit challenging to be here at eXp is one that doesn't want to adopt to technology, or one that doesn't have the basic understanding of technology. If that's you, that's okay, own it. If this is something that is very challenging for you to sit in front of a computer and get the applications to work, log in to submit your documents, or go to training, that's completely okay. I have a lot of close friends like that. I have a lot of family members that way, so I'm not one to judge. Now, another type of agent that might find a better fit in another brokerage, more specifically a transaction-based brokerage, is the agent that does 1 to 2 transactions a year. In other words, a low-producing agent that doesn't have an intent on growing their book of business doesn't always find a good home here at eXp, because that $85 monthly fee might not be something that they feel comfortable paying. So that type of agent will typically go to a transaction-based shop that only pays when a transaction occurs. So if there's no real intent on growth, either from the sales side or the recruitment side, then eXp might be a little bit tough. Now, something I don't really talk about too often is about my experience with eXp Realty to date, especially early on, because when I first heard about eXp Realty, I thought that the concept was actually pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was something that was novel and unique. However, after hearing about eXp Realty more and more from other agents within eXp Realty, it soon gave me a sour taste. Because I'll be honest, it really did give me that recruitment vibe, that it just seemed that these agents, all they were doing was reaching out to me because they wanted to recruit me and really had nothing beyond that plan. They wanted me to sign on that dotted line to become an agent that they sponsored into the brokerage. Because at that time, I had already launched my real estate education channel for real estate agents, and I was already one of the larger channels in the space. So in their mind, they saw a lot of value in signing somebody up like me because I had access to a ton of real estate agents that were watching my content. So in other words, they saw a lot of value in me speaking to you directly as real estate agents and helping you grow. But the more and more I spoke with agents at eXp Realty, the less and less value that they were willing to give me in return. In other words, there really wasn't a plan in place to help support me once I was already part of eXp Realty. And that kept me away from eXp Realty for 2 years. because those experiences really turned me against the company. I just really didn't see eXp Realty in a favorable light. So when I finally sat down and put some pen to paper to see how this could actually transform the way that I was doing real estate sales, but also helping real estate agents, it finally clicked. I was able to overcome my previous perception of eXp Realty and really made it my own. So I joined eXp Realty in the winter of 2019 and didn't speak about it with anybody for months because I wanted to experience eXp Realty for myself. I didn't want to be like most agents where the moment that they join eXp Realty, they're shouting it from the rooftops. They're shouting that eXp Realty is the best brokerage and the best decision ever. Well, in my mind, there's no way for an agent that just joined the brokerage for them to know that because they just haven't experienced it. They don't know outside of what they were told to join the brokerage. And although I have a lot of respect for my eXp agents out there, there are some agents that will tell you anything and everything just to sign up. I'm not naive. I know that's happening. How do I know? Well, I get emails, I get texts, and I get phone calls from other agents trying to verify if the information that they're being told is accurate. And in many instances, it's not. Now, why am I sharing this? Because I want you to know. I want you to know the actual truth. I went through a very extensive, by the time we get through this recording, I don't know how many hours of recording. My poor editors, thank you so much for making it better. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to suspect it's a very long video. I'm sharing this because I want you to get the full picture. I want you to see all of the information about eXp, but I also want you to see where I'm coming from. And very importantly, I want to share with you what we have built here, the Agent First Group. The Agent First Group was born out of necessity not only for myself, but all of the agents that joined after me. Because after joining eXp, and as I was battling through these things alone, I was documenting every pain point. I was documenting what's wrong with the onboarding. I was documenting what we could do to improve training. I was documenting what we could do to better support agents. Now, after having documented all of that, I turned right around and started looking for solutions. I was able to hire an internal staff that works just for the Agent First Group to support our real estate agents. So now we provide modern technology for all of our real estate agents. Agently, well, that's a component of it. The sales funnels, all of the funnels that we have personally used and also the agents that I have helped coach along the years, all of those sales funnels are available to our agents now. So not only do we provide top tier education and top tier resources for all of our real estate agents, we also provide services to help our agents go a lot faster. So if our agents are struggling with lead generation, as an example, we're there to support them. We're able to run their ads for them. If our agents are struggling with video marketing, well, our team of editors are there to support them as well. Whatever issue our agents have, whether that's from the acquisition, the conversion, or scaling part of their business, we're there to support them. We provide that community, we provide group coaching, we provide one-on-one coaching, and we also have accountability for every single agent that partners with us. Now, if you were to try to replicate what we do for our agents, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars per month. But the beauty of the model at eXp Realty and also the beauty of the Agent First Group is that we're able to offer this to our agents for free. We have the best group at eXp, hands down. We've helped our agents thrive in their real estate business on every single platform. Take Franco as an example. He was brand new to being an agent, and he was also brand new to YouTube, and within a matter of months, he surpassed 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and has amassed just about 10 million views at this point. And as far as his real estate business is concerned, he gets 25 booked appointments every single week for absolutely free. He and I do a one-on-one coaching every single week where we go into his channel and look for opportunities. And now he has an over 7-figure business through a combination of sponsored deals, YouTube AdSense, his real estate business, and beyond. But that's not the only success. Let's take Alejandra over on Instagram, because that's where she generates over 95% of her business. She has a phenomenal brand that attracts business to her. She's able to leverage social media the modern way and the most effective way at that. Now let's take Joseph. Joseph is in a completely different country and is closing millions in sales volume every single month with the help of his virtual assistants. He's able to market himself in such a way to attract business to him. And he's built such a powerful referral network that he operates his business in all 50 states at this point. Let's take Kim as an example. She absolutely crushes it on the phone. She takes at least one listing per week. And that's all through her working the phones incredibly effectively, to where now she's a top agent across the entire state of Texas. Now folks, I can keep going. We have examples like these for days, but I won't hold you hostage any longer. So if you're interested in joining eXp Realty, I invite you to check out our link down below and connect with us. Because here at the Agent First Group, we would love to be in business with you. We would love to be your partner. And we would love to help you double your business like we've done for so many agents.